Welcome, everybody, to Jazz Cruise Conversations Live. I'm Ann Hampton Callaway, and we're beginning our show at jazz o'clock, which means it's always just a little after the hour because, the swing is just a little behind the beat. I am thrilled to be with all of you today to discuss life, love, music, and everything in between with one of the great artists of our time. She is a 3-time Grammy Award-winning singer. She's a Tony-winning actress, an NEA Jazz Award winner. She's a record producer. She's a philanthropist. She is a UN ambassador. She is intrepid, bold, vivacious, brilliant. She is Dee Dee Bridgewater. Please welcome her. Hello, gorgeous.
Oh, hey, gorgeous. How are you doing? Beautiful.
I am happy to see you.
I'm happy to see you. Oh, my goodness.
Happy birthday month. It's your birthday on May 27th, right?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Good delivery. Yeah, I have one of those birthdays too. So yes.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
Boom.
It's so great to see you. And I am, I haven't seen you since we did the jazz. Was it the Jazz Cruise the last time I saw you, or was it the Palm Springs Women's Jazz Festival? Do you remember?
I think it was the Jazz Cruise. The very last time we saw each other.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. And I'm excited.
Sure, and we'd have to Google this.
Isn't that funny that you have to Google about your own life?
I love it.
How have you been? How has this pandemic been for you? It's just been
it's been interesting. For me, it's been interesting. The first few months were really wacky, I think, like for everybody. And there was a lot of cocktail hours in the middle of the day. And, and then, I went outdoors because I live kind of outside of New Orleans, and
nice.
I'm in a gated community. So I started going outside and I started doing stuff around the house, and, and then I rediscovered my bicycle.
Oh, nice! Wow.
I had my bike overhauled in January of 2020, and then I had reparked it in the garage. And in March, I looked at it and I said, and I started riding.
That's beautiful.
I did until it got really, really hot, until about the middle of June. I was doing 3 hours a day.
Oh my goodness! How exciting! Wow,
yeah,
your spirits.
Yeah, just going on all the little dirt roads outside of the community, and I was running my dog Daisy alongside of me, and then I had a basket, and we just went. Never too far outside of the community that I live in, but
yeah,
that was it. And then
it's nice to find whatever silver linings there are.
We did Zooms, right?
Yes, lots of Zooms.
We did Zooms, we did interviews, we did master classes, we did songs for nonprofit organizations that reached out. We did, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah. And here we are at the beginning of a new time. You've got some concerts coming up, right?
I have two evenings in June, the 25th and 26th at the Jazz Aspen Snowmass.
Nice.
Oh,
look good. Yeah, I'm sure everyone's going to want to be there.
Hey. So, and that's the only thing. I'm working with my Italian agent, and he is just desperate to get me to Italy this summer. So we've decided that we're going to put together an Italian band, and he's now talking with promoters. But then at the same time, you've got the government, and he seems very, very, very sure that it's going to happen. And I'm like,
it is a lot of.
Well, I don't know about you, Ann. I'm okay to travel in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure that I want to get on that transatlantic flight. I'm not quite sure that I want to. I don't know that I want to get to Europe, because then we might get stuck.
I hear you. Yeah. Well, I'm hoping to go to London in September, but we'll see if it all comes together.
Well, my
So,
daughter lives in London, so you got a place to stay.
oh, Talani's in London. I didn't know that.
No,
Oh,
my
no,
other
China.
daughter, China.
China. Oh,
China
fabulous.
lives in
I
London.
must meet her. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. She would
Well, there's
welcome
so
you with,
much to, oh, there you
oh
are
my
together.
goodness. Okay, I don't know who's doing all this
Tell us,
fabulous
as
stuff,
long as
but this is
we've got your
cool.
beautiful family up, tell us more about China. For people who don't know your wonderful, talented daughter, you have a beautiful family, a very musical, talented family.
Well, China, I call my mini me, and China has been performing since she was, oh my God, I don't know how you all are finding all this stuff. I don't even know where that's from. I'm looking at that picture. What a cool top I had on. I
Yeah.
have had clothes. Anyway, whatever. Hannah's been singing since she was 16. I got her first recording contract. I was supposed to sign a contract with Virgin Records to do um, 2 rock albums,
Wow.
because that is, besides the soul music that I'm now doing, that was my other closet dream.
Right. Yeah.
And we had negotiated for like months, about 10 months. And I go in to sign, and I take this demo cassette of hers, and I sit down with the business. I sit down with business affairs, and I say, Monsieur, je ne veux pas, I do not want to sign this recording contract. I'm a jazz singer. I cannot go that far. But I have a daughter, and I think she's super talented. And I just happen to have a cassette. And they listened to her, and they loved her. Of course, they were extremely pissed with me, because they'd spent a lot of money. But I said, we both spent a lot of money negotiating this contract. But yeah, so I got her signed with a sub label with Virgin. I can't remember the name of it right now. And Mondino did her first video. Do you know?
Wow.
And so I went to the shoot, because I said, well, if I meet Mondino, maybe he'll want to do mine. And he was so cool and so cold. He said, oh, but Dee Dee, I love your daughter China. I love her music. But you, my darling, you are established. I do not want to work with someone so established. I said, that's a nice way to put it. I was
Are you
rejected.
kidding me? Oh my
Rejected.
goodness. Wow.
But she, China has been in television, and she was the face of MTV France for many years. She worked with another music station called MCM. And then she started doing her album. She did an album, a tribute to Dinah Washington, called This One's for Dinah. That was a huge hit. And that really kind of got her career going as a so-called jazz singer, because they want to, of course, put her in the same box as her mother, but she's not. But that's
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Her latest album is called Nightingales, and it's done fantastically well. And she co-wrote all of the material.
I heard about that. Yeah, that's wonderful.
She's working on a new album with this really big producer in London. His name is Troy. That's all I know.
I love hearing about your daughter and your relationship with her, because I was so interested in learning about your relationship with your father, and how he was sort of a closet. You didn't know a lot about his life, but
I still don't.
He was a jazz trumpet player, but also a soul trumpet player, or
well, he played trumpet, and I guess you could say he went between both worlds. From what I've been able to glean and to dig up, because he just does not talk.
Yeah.
He played trumpet with Rufus Thomas. He played in Rufus Thomas's band in the summers when Manassas High School was out. He taught at Manassas High School, one of the 2 black high schools in Memphis in the late 40s, early 50s. And he taught a lot of jazz greats like Charles Lloyd and Phineas, but it's Finest Newborn, Booker Little, Harold Mayburn, George Coleman.
Wow.
Frank Strozier,
names, let me pick them up.
Garnett Brown, all of these guys. Yeah, they were
fantastic.
They were.
Now, he told you that he didn't want you to be a musician, right?
No, I asked him when I was like 12 years old, and I said, Daddy, can I learn how to play the piano? I was all excited, and he says to me, girls don't play the piano. Denise, girls sing.
Wow.
And I went, oh, that was the time. And I went, oh, and I accepted it.
Really?
But,
And
but you know what? I think probably in my subconscious that registered, because I never attempted as an adult even to try to learn an instrument.
wow.
I never attempted to try to learn to read music. And I guess also because I'd established myself as a singer without having had any of these tools, just relying on my little ears,
Right.
I didn't feel the necessity. But I do have a Pat Metheny guitar that I paid a crap load of money for at an auction when WBGO honored me in 2019. And I took 3 lessons. I started in October of last year, and my teacher is a wonderful, wonderful guitarist, but he was quite serious. We're friends, and yeah, he brought a ruler out and he spanked my hands on my first. I was like, listen, we can't. No. And I said, I am not a child. I'm not 7 years old. I am 70. You don't spank my hands. I will slap the you know what out of you. Have you lost your mind? So I went there. Needless to say, 2 lessons after, and I was like, well, that's cute.
Well, it's a beautiful it's a beautiful guitar, and
it's a wonderful guitar.
Isn't that amazing? But your voice is an orchestra. Now, when did you know you wanted to sing? What was the first moment you thought, I love this. This is who I am. This is my calling. Did you have that at a young age, or
yeah?
What tapped you on the shoulder?
I was 7.
7. What was that moment? What was it like?
I remember being in the bathroom in our house. We had a bathroom with a medicine chest on the opposite wall that was mirrored, and if you opened it slightly, you could create that infinity effect. And I used to stand in front of that medicine cabinet mirror and just sing songs, and I remember, I don't know, it was an epiphany, we would say now. At 7 years old, I didn't know what it was, but I was watching myself sing, and I just closed the cabinet and I walked into the living room, and my mom and dad were in there sitting, and I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be a jazz singer. I am going to be well respected by musicians, and I am going to be known internationally.
Are you kidding?
And I said, I am going to live in Paris, France, and I'm going to buy you a house.
And did you do that part?
Yep.
Wow. Isn't that amazing how you were that in with you are and who you were to become? I mean, it's kind of, you wonder if it was an intention that you set that made it happen, or you had a sense of what your whole future encompassed.
I don't know, Ann. It just, I made the statement. I didn't think anything about it. But I do remember as a teenager that I was really, really shy. But when I would sing, I was another person. It was another world. And even if I closed my eyes because I didn't want to see anybody, I still felt this otherworldliness inside of me, and it just felt very comfortable to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. Say that.
How was it for you?
I wanted to do so many different things, but I remember being 10 years old and writing songs and singing with my guitar and wondering why I couldn't be the 5th Beatle. But I was listening to Bill Evans to go to sleep at night. That was my lullaby, Bill Evans Alone.
Wow.
And I knew that music was just a part of who I was, but I didn't have a vision of what I'd do. Are you hearing like echoing, by the way?
No. But
okay, good.
Hopefully it's just, you want to put headphones?
I'm hearing it on my end, and I hope the viewers are not. So that's good to know. But I love the story about you and your dad took you to audition for Berry Gordy when you were 16 years old. Tell everybody that story. It's so great.
Well, my dad knew the drummer that was in the Motown rhythm section, and we called him Pistol. I think his name was Richard Allen, but I knew him as Pistol, and he had come to Flint. They were, he was part of a review, and we had the Chitlin circuit, and so he was going to be performing in Idlewild, which is, I don't even know where Idlewild is in Michigan, outside of Detroit. I don't know. It was just a place we all went. Anyway, he says, listen, I'll never forget. He's talking to my dad, and, I'm like down the hall, but I'm, really listening. And he says, Motown is holding auditions. I could get an audition for Dee Dee. And my dad said, well, why don't you do that? So he set it up. So we go down, and I'm excited, kind of, sort of. And I sing. I don't know what I sang, but I remember Smokey Robinson coming out, and
wow.
What's the writing team? Dozier and Holland. I can't remember their first names. At any rate, we call this pandemic brain.
It's the Jazzmimers. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they come out and they're like, oh my goodness, she can really sing. And then the next thing I know, here's Berry Gordy. And my father's saying, hey, Mr. Gordy, and he's going, we really like her. And can you sing another song? And I sing another song. And then, oh gosh, one of the guys from the Temptations comes out, and then they're all talking, and they say, she sounds like Mary Wells. Oh my goodness, she'd be great. Da, da, da. And so then my father goes off and talks with Barry for a few minutes, and then we leave. I remember I did the audition in the basement of the house that he had started Motown Records at, and he being Berry Gordy. So we're riding home, and my dad says, well, Mr. Gordy is very interested in signing you, but he wants to wait until you're 18 because they are having, I'll never forget this, child labor law problems.
Oh, wow.
With Stevie Wonder. So
you're kidding.
And because I think Stevie is a year older,
uh-huh.
a year older, but at any rate, so he doesn't want to sign anyone until they are 18. So he wants me to bring you back when you're 18. And I said, I don't want to sign with Motown. I want to sign with Capitol. That's where Nancy Wilson is.
You knew who you were, right on. But I mean,
can you believe that? At 16, you don't know, you don't have any idea. You're just speaking.
Would you ever talk to that girl and say, "Are you sure now," or was it perfect the way you mapped up your life?
Well, I didn't really map it out, but if I talk to that girl today, knowing what I know, I'd say, sweetie, maybe you should think about it. Maybe you should just go back and try it out. You never know. You know what I'm saying? But I would have had a whole different trajectory.
Yeah.
And I would not have discovered the me that I am today, the independent person that I am today. But I was a hot mess. I was a hot mess, to coin that, take that phrase and put it, to describe me. Yeah, I was pretty opinionated.
I think the great singers are. When I've done, as both of us love to do, tributes to artists that we respect and have influenced us, and I find a lot of people have a certain kind of radar of just like, this is me, this is not me, this is what I want, and nothing else will do. And when you're true to yourself, then the ring of truth rings through everything, and you're not a hot mess. The world is a hot mess trying to let you be you. So you just got to keep being you. Tell me, though, in the becoming of you, who are some of your mentors? Who are some of the people that lit the way for you? What, do you think of Nancy Wilson as a mentor?
I don't think of her as a mentor. I think of her as, she was an idol. She was someone that I wanted to grow up and be like. She was the first jazz singer that was glamorous for me, and that had a figure, and the hair, and then and you saw her on television, and then you saw her on TV shows, and you just so I wanted to be like her in that way.
Yes.
But more so the glamour.
Right.
So there were women that I admired, but they were not my mentors. My mentors were men. My mentors were Thad Jones, Dizzy Gillespie, Clark Terry, Sonny Rollins, Dexter Gordon. These guys.
The pioneers.
Yeah, no, they took me out with them. Pharaoh Saunders, um, the Rasan Roland Kirk. I had this very interesting kind of fraternity of men who wanted to protect me and wanted to guide me and show me the ropes.
And they didn't want to sleep with you? They just wanted to help you?
No.
Really?
No.
I find that hard to believe. Wow.
No.
Uh-huh.
No. None of them. No,
Good.
The ones that wanted to sleep with me they didn't mentor me because they wanted to sleep with me. That's not mentoring.
No.
Right.
Well, you
but
were very fortunate. Yeah. You were very fortunate, but I mean, the moment you become in the face of your intellect, you're a very brilliant woman, in my opinion, and you're a good student, obviously, and so you must be a good teacher as well. But I mean, it really is. It takes a certain kind of mind to be able to absorb. And by the way, if you have any headphones, or turn down your volume a tiny bit. I'm hearing a lot of echo.
You want me to put mine on?
If you have some, that might be good.
I have some. I have some here. I have ear.
Thank you so much, Dee Dee.
My earplugs. Hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
So, is that helping?
Yes. That's perfect. That's amazing. What a difference.
Okay.
And can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, that's so much better. But what extraordinary mentors. Now, then you marry.
Let me say this though.
Yes.
I didn't have it in the jazz world. I didn't have the men hitting on me. I had it in the acting world.
Really? That's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Well, wait a minute. Let me say this. When I was with Atlantic Records, I refused to sleep with the vice president of the label, and they dropped my album about 5 weeks after it had been released, and it was getting rave reviews and all of this.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not. And I was called and told, you never say no to the vice president, and we are canning your album. But I always had good legal representation, and so I called my attorney at that time, and I told him, and he says, well, if they want to can it, they're going to have to pay you.
Right.
So they did.
And they did?
And then I got it whenever I would audition for movies and stuff. I would get it then. And so I didn't get a lot of movies that I was up for and that I was told that I had, because the final thing was to sleep with somebody, and I just wouldn't do it.
Wow.
I wouldn't do it with someone very big in the jazz world, and so I never played his festivals. To this day.
Well, this is really a stunning revelation that you're sharing with all of us today, because we've heard a lot about the Me Too movement, in the last few years, but I haven't really heard about it from a jazz performer's perspective, and it's. I also have had certain situations that could have been different if I had played the ball, the way they wanted me to. And I think that in the end, we can live with ourselves and feel strong and feel that what a powerful person you are, that you were able to say, no, if that's what it takes, I don't need to do that. That takes a lot of guts and discipline and pride that a lot of women somehow don't have.
Yeah, I don't understand. And I didn't understand that about the Me Too movement when I would hear these girls say, well, but I felt that I should, that if I didn't, I wasn't going to get it. And I was like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, is BS, because we don't have to do anything that we don't want to do. And so I feel that a lot of these young children of today that were a part of that movement were trying to excuse themselves for not having the moral compass. Please. Oh,
yeah,
please.
That's interesting. Well, Dee Dee, you've been such a great, we've talked about a few of your mentors, but you didn't mention any female mentors. I know Abby Lincoln has been mentioned, in interviews, and
I love Abby.
Mhm.
The woman who I tried to model myself after is Betty Carter.
Oh, I love Betty
Okay.
Carter.
And
Yes,
Betty
yes.
Carter, when I started out, Betty Carter lived on St. Felix, which is a street that goes alongside BAM on the
Uh-huh.
opposite side of Flatbush. And, you know, she was trying to turn that particular block into a block for musicians. And I was married to Cecil at the time. And so we
Right.
went and we looked at a brownstone that was like 2 or 3 doors down from hers. And we were actually thinking about buying the bottom 2 floors. And in the interim, Cecil's brother, Ronnie,
Uh-huh.
came over and looked at the street and decided to rent the apartment that was next to the building we were going to move into. And I said, "Oh, I'm not doing that."
Oh,
So
yeah. A
I
good
didn't want
thing, a
I
wise
didn't want to
woman.
live next to my
Well, but, you know, it's so
brother-in-law, you know?
yeah.
So yeah, but I modeled myself after Betty because I remember going to Betty's house and in the hallway of the upper floor of her brownstone, she had just her different albums packed up in different stages of being packaged to
Uh-huh.
go to be shipped out. And so she told me about Betcar Productions, and she told me how, she, did her own albums and she produced them herself and she had her own label. And then, she was the leader of her own band. I used to go and see. So, yeah, I guess Betty was a mentor.
Well, yeah, because you're one of the
Yeah.
few people in jazz that you've been making your own records. You have your own label. You've been producing your own records. So you've really been true to yourself all the way. And she was a person that shone the light for you
Yeah.
in that sense. Yeah.
She did. And,
Yeah.
and then she mentored young musicians.
And you've been doing that as
And
well.
so I would say she is the woman that has influenced me the most. Even though she didn't actually mentor me, but she did mentor me. She told me, she said, "Dee Dee, you're gonna have to figure this thing out yourself." I was like, "Betty, can I come to your rehearsal?" She says, "No, you cannot come to my rehearsal. You got to figure this out for yourself." But Betty,
Wow.
how do you? She said, "Just watch." She could be so not mean, but I think, Betty was just very clear. So I would always go to her shows.
Uh-huh.
I would always call ahead. She would always let me know where she was performing around New York. I would always book the table right in the front. I would
Uh-huh.
always go by myself and I would just study her,
Yeah.
but it was never with the intention of trying to be physically like her, vocally like her, because she
Right.
was such an individual. But I just, I had never seen a female vocalist contort their body and move and grimace and do all of that like Betty did.
Yeah.
And she just had a kind of freedom in space that I just hadn't seen. So I wanted that. And then I really appreciated watching her lead her band. But sometimes I thought she would be so mean, and call them out on stage. So my thing was,
Right.
"Ooh, I'm not going to do that."
Yes, I felt the same way when I saw her live. I was like, oh
Yeah,
my, I would never do
oh,
that. Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Abby did that too.
Oh, really? Shame on her.
Oh no.
No.
I'll never forget. I went to see her one time in Salzburg because anytime I could see Abby, and it was always in Europe, anytime
Uh-huh.
I could see Abby, I would just gallop. Anyway, and I'm sitting up in the balcony and she's doing this concert in Salzburg and it's in this beautiful theater and the drummer, I don't remember who it was, but he was playing and she kept trying to change the tempo behind her back, that one. And he still couldn't get it. And then she started stomping her foot. And I leaned in on the railing of the balcony. I said, "Oh, this is getting deep." And then she stopped the song. She turned around and she says, "GD, this is the effing tempo."
Oh
And he was
my.
like, Abby, and she said, "Get off the stage." I was like,
The Wicked Witch of Jazz.
but I've done that too.
Oh, you've done that too?
Well, I had, I had
You had a few moments?
I had a pianist that I had sent the music to, the sheet
Uh-huh.
music,
Yes.
I had sent him, this is in the 90s. So I had sent him music to listen to, the album. I had sent him live performance that had been taped, and he came on the gig, and I said, because we're not going to have time to rehearse, so please make sure you study all this
Do
stuff.
your homework. Yeah.
So we get on the stage, and I think it was in Aspen. No, I don't know where it was. It was in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I'm pretty sure it was Aspen. We start the first tune. It's a train wreck. He doesn't know anything. So we start the second tune, and I see he doesn't. And I said, I called him out by his name. I said, did you listen to the material that I sent you? Well, I said, this is what it sounds like. You kind of, sort of. I said, you're fired. You can leave right now. I said, what you don't understand. And then I turned around to my other two musicians and I said, what you all do not understand is that I have the original instrument. I do not need you. I can do this show without all of you. I can sing here. I mean, I can stand here and sing and entertain these people, and they will love it.
Right.
So
good for you.
You're fired. And he was going off. And I said, someone please come and escort him from the stage.
Now, but actually that is probably one of the best lessons you could give him. I mean, if that didn't change his life, then he will never make it in music ever. But wow.
Well, I can say this. I don't know what happened to him after that.
Well, we don't know about him.
Yeah,
So that's what it tells us something. Yeah.
But yeah, there have been moments, because what I find, and maybe, the folks listening to us don't realize this, but what I find, and maybe, I don't know if you found this, Ann, but what I find often when I hire a musician, and it's usually a sub, they will come in and they will never be prepared, because they assume that they can skate if it's a singer.
Right, right.
And what they don't realize is I've got arrangements, and those arrangements, they're a little tricky.
Yeah.
And, they get so caught up in seeing the performance that they don't really listen to the music. And so when they get on the gig, they don't know the music.
Oh,
so
no.
I don't, when they haven't done their homework, I have docked people on breaks, on an intermission. and they haven't known the music. And I say, gentlemen, if you don't go back out there and play that like you rehearsed it and like you've listened to the music, you will not be paid.
Wow. Well, that is the level of the quality of what you've established as an artist, and that is the default. Do your homework. And it's so interesting that some people have the discipline and the respect, and other people don't. And if they don't, I mean, people say to me, I don't know, how do you feel about it? They say, oh, Ann, do you get nervous before performance? And I say, only if I feel that I'm not prepared for some bizarre reason, or my band isn't prepared. Otherwise, it's a joy. I walk out on the stage. I feel so excited. I can't wait to share a night of magic. How do you feel? Do you get nervous before a show?
I can get very nervous before a show. I can get nervous. I tend to get nervous when I'm working with orchestras and big bands, because that's a little out of my control.
Yes, yeah.
And it's dependent upon the conductors or, the musical director, if it's in front of a big band.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And when I do something that's new, and even though I'm prepared, I just don't feel like we've done it enough.
Right.
I can get nervous in those situations too.
Yeah. Well, but the show must go on.
But the show must go on, and I get dry mouth, and and then I can't hear.
Especially in the desert. Yes, right.
I don't know if that happens to you, but when I get the stage fright, all of a sudden I can't hear. And then my mouth is super dry, and my breathing is shallow, and it's all of those things, and I can't see. even with my glasses on. But now I've had this cataract surgery and I really can't see. I don't know what kind of
Oh,
vision
you're
I have.
kidding. Oh no.
No, I
Wow.
mean I can see at a distance, but I can't see up close. So now
Uh-huh.
I can see you, but I don't I don't want to see me. So
You look beautiful.
I took the readers off. I said that's enough.
You're so funny.
But
So,
yeah,
I mean, it's interesting to hear you because every time I've ever watched you perform, you're just so in large and in charge and free and in the moment, and you look. But I've mainly seen you with people that you know and love and work with a lot, and so it's an interesting thing to see that someone of your stature and talent has those moments too. I mean, a lot of people would find that difficult to believe.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you know,
We're human beings.
we are human beings.
And we have feelings. But what happens to me, Anne, when I go on stage? I think I go into a trance. I just become I go into another space.
Uh huh.
And I've had people that have traveled with me say that, we'll be talking and they'll say, okay, Dee Dee, and they like, we see you kind of transform and you become this other thing,
Yeah.
so I don't know. Maybe
Well,
that's because I've been
I
doing it a long time. I don't know.
but I also think that you're a goddess. I don't know what your spiritual life is these days, but to me, I always feel that I am a vessel, that I am a messenger, and there's something bigger involved. And so before I go on stage, I have that sense of let me be an instrument, please. I invoke grace, and I invoke a sense of the company of beautiful energy, and the energy could be from the God above, or it could be from my band or the audience, or
Yeah.
anything that brings beautiful energy, and to allow that to be expressed through music. It's an
Mm,
honor. It's a real honor to be a singer, don't you think?
I agree. I agree. I think it's an honor for anyone who has the gift and is allowed to share that gift of music with an audience. It's such a blessing. And
Yeah.
so I do like you. I say a prayer, but I call it a prayer, and I just ask for God and all of the spirits to come through me and speak through me and to touch the people and to heal. I want my
Uh-huh.
music to be healing, and so that's my general prayer,
That's
you
a beautiful
know,
prayer. Yes.
so but I feel very much like you,
Yeah.
and just release myself as the vessel for those spirits to come through
Yeah.
and
And
speak and touch.
it's interesting when you were talking about Betty Carter and the way she moved, and you have that freedom. It's almost like the music is coursing through your entire body and will make your legs and arms and the wonderful theatricality that you have, Dee Dee. It's so exciting to see you be an instrument in every square inch of your body. One of the things I treasure most about you, and I think it's because it matters to me so much, is that not only are you a great jazz artist, but you're also hilarious. You're sexy. The audience has no idea what's going to happen because
No.
you use it all. Whoever in the front row, watch out. If there's a singer in the house, you might go up on stage and improv with them. So did anyone ever tell you, oh, no, you're a jazz singer, you can't be funny, you're not supposed to be an entertainer? Because I was told that when I moved to New York from Chicago, you can either be an artist or you can be an entertainer, but you
You
can't be
cannot.
both. And I use you as an example of somebody who does both brilliantly. How do you feel about that issue?
I was told that I couldn't do those things when I moved to France.
Oh,
The
really?
the French the
You're so
French
cool.
jazz police were like, "Who do you think you are?" Oh, honey, when I first got there, they were like, "She is vulgar. She is vulgar. I'm vulgar. Oh, she's so distasteful. She does sexual gyrations and I mean, and she talks, oh my Lord." Because I remember I used to love to. I went through a moment where I loved to grab the leg of the piano
Uh-huh.
and go down it.
Mhm. Why not? Yes. Why not?
And I saw
This
Etta
one does.
James perform one time at the Montreux Jazz Festival, and she bent over and She
Uh-huh.
grabbed the she grabbed the microphone cable between her legs, and then she stood up and she just did that, and with her butt to the audience. And I was like, oh yes, I want to be like that. I want to do that. You know, yeah.
Well, city of that is something that's very popular in contemporary culture. I mean, obviously, why is it okay for somebody who's 20 to do that? And why is it encouraged and necessarily encouraged in jazz? When is a woman's sexuality supposed to be covert in jazz, or is it? Is
You
this
know
there?
what? You know what? Let me say this, Anne. Number
Say it.
one, I'm a little bit angry with the jazz world these days. I'm a
Yeah,
little
not,
bit.
not me.
I've been thinking about writing a letter. I mean, because I'm just so tired of the powers that be in this world that we call jazz trying to dictate what the woman is supposed to be doing. I have
Wow.
just about had it. I am a little bit tired of having doing interviews and having the interviewer be a man
Uh-huh.
speaking to me as a woman. This is why I asked for you for this
Thank you.
interview. I am a little bit tired of the comparison that I have seen in recent months in some jazz magazines, trying to pit the white female singer against the black female singer when doing a review of their work.
Oh, wow.
I'm a little bit tired of all of this macho BS.
Yes.
I really,
Amen.
really am. So I am at a place in my life, in my 70 years and my 50 years of being professional, some kind of way, because I haven't always sung jazz in these 50 years. But if you want to say I've been singing jazz for 50 years, what the F ever? You know, I really don't care, but it's not
Yes.
the truth.
Right.
That's okay.
Yes.
But I feel at my age and at my stage and after all the things that I have done, I will be damned if I'm going to let somebody dictate to me and tell me what and how I'm supposed to do or be
And why?
anywhere. And
Thank you.
so on the
Yes.
stage, if I decide I want to be sexy and I want to do it overtly, well, that is my prerogative. If you can't deal with it, then don't come to my show, because people
Exactly.
that come to my show know they can expect anything from me.
Right.
And I'm not going to do anything. I'm definitely going to not try to insult anyone sitting in the house. And usually my humor is self-depreciating. You
Uh,
know, I'm putting myself down. Please. So if anybody has a problem, that's your problem. I'm
yeah.
there. I'm there.
I really thank you for articulating this because I have had this. I'm a nice girl from Chicago. We were taught to be nice and
Yes, we're
diplomatic.
Midwesterners. Yes.
Yeah, and yes, we had that. We also both went to University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. I
Yeah.
can't believe that. But I don't always have that sort of, well, you know what, this is what I'm going to do feeling. As I get older, I feel it's become stronger. But I appreciate you just stating that this is what we deal with, because the jazz police there are many different faces of the jazz police, but many of them and most of them are male. And there is this interesting sense of control about what is jazz. Like, oh, you do Broadway, so how could you be a jazz singer? And why do you? And I say I'm a pop jazz singer, and I want as big of an umbrella, because if I want to sing at a Broadway show, like I got to do one time in my life and star and swing, I want to do it. And I'm not going to, if I want to sing with my sister and we're going to do other types of, I'm going to do it. If I feel like doing an album of pop songs that I wrote, which I'm going to do this year, I'm going to do it. And you've been doing what you want to do with no apologies. And that's what's made you one of the most exciting artists of our time. So I applaud you for that. What was it like being on Broadway? Let's just sort of do a wild turn if we can.
Oh, Broadway. Well, when I was on Broadway with the Wiz,
Yeah.
those were the glory days of Broadway. Those
Yes.
were
Right.
those were the days when before a show came to Broadway, you did tryouts where,
Uh-huh.
you know, they were called the bus and truck tours before you would come in with the show
Right.
to present it, to open it. And
Yeah.
that was so that you could iron out all of the kinks of the script and, just everything. And
Yep.
so we did a 6 city each week. I mean, each city we stayed in for a week. So we did
Wow.
6 cities
So when you got
out
to
of
New York,
town. By the time we
yeah.
got to New York, well, a whole lot of stuff went down, and
Uh-huh.
a lot of stuff went down.
Oh,
But
really?
yeah, my original role, Glinda, was a very large role. Once again, I told you it was theater.
Uh-huh.
The gentleman who represented 20th Century Fox, which was the financial backer for The Wiz, even though
Uh-huh.
Ken Harper was the producer, 20th Century Fox had a division that provided the financing for the show. So the gentleman who was the representative for 20th Century had the hots for me. So he would come every week to the different cities, and he would send an usher backstage at about 45 minutes before the show. I would always start doing my makeup because I had to do this fantastical makeup. So I would start an hour before the show to get myself prepared. So I would always have to go out. He would ask that I be brought out into the theater. And
What?
so I would I'm telling you the truth. So I'd be in my little kimonos because I love to wear the little Japanese kimonos, and I'd be
Uh-huh.
half made up, you know, in whatever underneath. And I would go out and see him, and he would say, "Oh, Miss Bridgewater, and I just love you in the show. And, I really would love it if you would," because back then they would say, "If you'd be my mistress." And I was like, no, I'm married. No, and then I split up with my husband, which was Cecil. And then I hooked up with Gilbert Moses, who was the original director of The Wiz.
Uh-huh.
And that is his show that stood on Broadway. At any
Right.
rate, so once I got with Gilbert, I think we were in Philadelphia. It was 2 weeks before we were going back to New York. And he calls for me again, and I go out, and I said to him this time, I said, "Listen, I wouldn't sleep with you if you were the last man on earth." And I said, and now I said, I'm with Gilbert. I
Uh-huh.
said, I'm with Gilbert, and I'm very happy in this new relationship, and I will not sleep with you. The next day he had Gilbert fired.
Really?
And then he tried to have me written out of the show.
Oh
But
my God.
oh yeah.
That's
So
ridiculous.
oh yeah.
Oh my God.
So
I'm so sorry.
oh, this is
But
life.
then,
This is
but
what
then you go
happens.
ahead and
That's
win the Tony
showbiz,
Award
honey.
for best,
5 lines of dialogue and a half a song.
What?
Yeah, I only had 5 lines of dialogue by the time we got to Broadway. He had arranged that the Wiz, who was played by Andre DeShields, be given the song "If You Believe,"
And
and
that was
so
supposed to be your song?
it was my song. And so then
Wow.
I did a reprise. I had all of this conversation with each, with Dorothy, the lion, the scarecrow, and the Tin Man, and
Uh-huh.
then a kind
Yeah.
of send me off thing, before I told Dorothy to click her heels 3 times. So all of
Wow.
that got reduced to, whatever the one that you strength, you want wisdom, you want, whatever it was. I can't even remember the dialogue. Each one
I,
of one
I,
line and a half a song.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. Now I really understand much more the passion that you've been bringing to empowering women. I mean, you tell us about the mission that you have. You have been doing, you created, I'm
Oh, I
trying to
created a new show. I mean, a new program, a mentoring program, and it's called the Woodshed Network.
right. Yes.
And I've gotten the funding from the Doris Duke Charitable Foundation, and
Congratulations. That's big.
yeah, and I do it with a nonprofit organization called 651 Arts
Uh-huh.
in Brooklyn. And the picture that they have up now is the alumna from my first year of
Wonderful.
doing the Woodshed Network. And this year in March, we did our second session, I guess we would call it, or the second year. And
Uh-huh.
we had 8 ladies in the first year, and we had 12 ladies this year. And we did it virtually, but I'm trying to provide young women with all of the tools that they need to have a successful career. And basically, I'm just trying to inform them of all of these things that they need.
Wonderful.
from management to booking agencies to every aspect. So we bring in female mentors, and this year we had 22, and we deal with copywriting, we deal with the booking, we deal with um, presenters, telling them how they need to put a package together to present it to buyers. We bring in publicists to work with them on creating a bio, and we worked with them on their websites.
Oh, fantastic. I
We
hope there's a
just
book. Is there a book that's
every
going to happen out of this? Because Dee Dee, I want to read this book. I'm sure there's things that you know that I don't know that I need to learn. This would be such a gift for people, or at least
well
a TV show or
well
something where we could all of us be immersed in what the
oh,
wisdom that
and
you're
stop it,
sharing.
stop it. No, let me get it up and going first. And my
Okay.
daughter,
All right.
my daughter Talani Bridgewater,
Who's
who
fabulous. I love her.
who does my management, she actually put the program together, and it
Brilliant.
was just fantastic. We talked about gender
Hi, Talani.
equality. Yep,
Uh-huh.
and there she is with Terry Lynn. Oh my gosh,
Oh, what a
that's
great
sweet.
artist.
At Lady
Yes.
Day. Yeah, that's my
Beautiful.
baby.
And she lives in Paris?
No, Talani lives in LA.
Oh, okay.
Nope, I have a son. That's my third and
He lives
last
in,
child.
and yes,
He lives in Paris.
and he plays several instruments. Is that right?
Yeah, but he's
He's your baby?
concentrating on the bass.
Uh-huh. Will he appeal to my bass instincts?
His name is Gabe Durand, and he's trying to work his stuff out. He's a young father. I've got a new granddaughter. She'll be 2. Her name is
Congratulations.
Maya,
Nice.
and he's trying to grow up and become a man.
It's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to do.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
Guys, yes, it's difficult with guys. Guys, it's
Why?
a little
Why
more
is it
complicated.
difficult?
I don't know. Maybe because with Gabe came into my life. I was almost 41 when I had Gabe. And so my career was established in France. I lived in a house. My finances were pretty stable. So he came along in an environment where I just wanted to provide everything for him. My girls had to go through it all with me. We went through it together. We kind of grew up together.
Right.
My girls were out the door at not even 18. Because I told them 18, I kick you out. So they both were gone. Kalani was gone at 16 and a half.
Uh-huh.
And China was trying to leave at 15. And I was like, oh no, this thing, you can't go, but they were out and gone and on their own.
Right.
But with my son, he got to be with this Dee Dee Bridgewater person that was a kind of celebrity.
Oh, yes.
And so he grew up in a whole other world. So
did he feel certain entitlements because of that fame?
Yeah.
Yeah. The curse and the beauty, the blessing and the curse of fame. It really is.
Yeah.
How do you react to being famous?
I don't think of myself as famous.
Really?
No, I don't.
No?
And my therapist says you need to.
I know
my therapist says you've got to accept who you are, and I'm like, but and I just keep trying to keep the income coming in. So
I know. I feel that way too.
So we're
businesswomen too, not just artists. Yeah.
And I'm trying to kind of wind down as a performer. One thing that happened with this pandemic was, I had some money that I'd set aside, but I was trying to just lower my expenses. And I had taken care of my mother. I was her caretaker when she had dementia, and that lasted 10 years.
That's
and
rough.
that was very
years?
expensive.
Yes,
10 years. And
that's a very challenging
my
thing.
mother had gone through her retirement and the pension money that my dad left her. And so I had to take care of her.
Wow.
So that cost me, that was quite expensive. So all of those years up until 2017, and I got the reputation for being the hardest working woman in jazz, but it was because I was having to pay for my mother and
my own stuff.
Right.
So
Yeah.
my monthly nut was really, really high. So
Mm.
after my mother passed in 2017, um, that year I was still working a lot because I didn't know that she was going,
Uh-huh.
and I had that nut that I thought I was going to have to take care of. So I was able to, amass enough money so I could put 10% down on a house that was affordable here in New Orleans. I couldn't have bought a house in LA.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And I need a house in a yard. And
Uh-huh.
I'm not, and LA and I do not agree.
It's a tough
So
city. Yeah.
I no. Mm-mm. So yeah, so I came here and now I have a house, and I bought a house that was big enough for my kids if anybody has a problem. And I live kind of in the country, and I like it. And
Yeah.
what I was going to say is I was able to live
Yes. What a wonderful thing for
without
you to do. Yeah.
without without working,
Uh-huh.
without going on the road. You know,
Yeah.
um, I got a PPP, and the PPPs that were forgiven. Thank
Uh-huh.
God.
Thank you, Lord. Yeah.
I have a small business loan that I did take, that
Yeah,
I'm going
me
to have to
too. Yeah.
start
Mhm.
paying back,
Yeah.
this year. But I've been able to survive.
Yeah.
And so it's given me a whole new outlook on the work and what I do. I like the mentoring. I like doing master classes. I like hosting. I love hosting.
Uh-huh.
I've started hosting, last year and this year I hosted, well, this year I co-hosted, but last year I hosted the NEA Jazz Masters for
Yes.
SFJAZZ.
And
And then,
congratulations on your award in 2017. I mean,
oh, honey,
that's it.
thank
That's the
you.
Pulitzer Prize of jazz
Yes, it
artistry.
is.
It
Yes, it
is a
is.
great honor. Yeah.
And then in March, well, it aired in April, but I hosted the Jazz at Lincoln Center's annual gala. I'm getting ready to
Congratulations.
host the SF Jazz annual gala,
Yes.
and I've been asked to host the pre telecast of the Kennedy Center Honors.
Well, you know
I'm
what?
going to host their cocktail hour, and I just was asked to host the jazz Grammys in France, the Victoire de Jazz
Fantastic.
on television. So hosting, I like this hosting. I love that.
Yeah,
Ooh.
you're a natural because you have such a vivacious personality. And one of the reasons why I think your radio show was so popular for so many years, and you are such an engaging person. You have stature, and you can get up there and you know everybody, and you're not afraid. You're not a stilted person. You're a person with humor and life,
Yeah.
and an exciting presence. So congratulations on that new chapter of
Yeah,
your life. I hope you're recording. I mean, you've made so many amazing. There's so many things I wanted to talk to you about. I'm looking at the clock going, but do you have plans? You've been doing all these CDs throughout your career of amazing theme CDs of Ella and Billie Holiday, and you're going back to the roots of Memphis and
yeah.
your French album, and I mean, is there the next project for you, Dee Dee?
Yeah, I have a great idea for a project, and for this project, I am going to have an intern work with me to help me do the research on the project, and I'm really excited about it. But I and this comes from theater. You don't talk about your stuff.
Yeah.
Before you do it,
Right.
but it's a historical kind of project, and something where I can have a lot of fun.
Oh, that sounds
And
wonderful.
yeah, so and I'm gonna do it here in New Orleans, and yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll all
With
be excited when that comes out. Now, one of the things that I'm in this conversation and in my wonderful times with you on the Jazz Cruise, and when we work together and when I've seen you, is you're a woman who lives in the moment. You are, and that's what jazz is. It's being free, it's being in the moment, it's listening. And I want, but before we wrap things up, I do want to talk about a moment when you invited me up on stage, and this person who's so alive and in the moment dared me to come up and do an improv with you at this concert that we were at. Can Lee and Callie, can you put a little bit of this video that Kari took of us? I think.
Darling, I love you more than you know. Each time I hear you, I always know it's your voice. It's your voice that calms the savage beast in me. Are you having a mood swing? Oh, this is the thing.
I don't remember you saying, are you having a mood swing?
Oh, you were so flirtatious with me. It was the Palm Springs Jazz Women. There were a lot of golfers in the audience, women golfers,
yeah.
so to speak. And so you were really playing to the crowd, honey. And one of the things when I was, for our beautiful viewers out there, one of the things I said I wanted to do during this show, because I've had so much fun on the Jazz Cruise when you came up on stage and you just started singing with me.
Yes, I love this, Ann. Let's do something.
We need to do something together. But what I want.
Let's just, okay, what do you want?
I want us to talk to each other through singing. And what I want to ask you, Dee Dee, is what are you grateful for?
Oh, and I'm grateful for each moment with you. I'm grateful because we do the things that are true. We speak about the things we love. We talk about music and life. And I'm grateful for that and for you.
I can't imagine a more beautiful answer. It's clear that music is in your mind like a river.
Ooh.
We could go on and on and on. Maybe this would be a news show. We could be co-hosts and tell the world what happened that day. Today, 5 million people got a COVID shot. What do you think about that, Dee Dee? Wouldn't it be fun if people sang on the news?
Oh, it would be so much fun if people sang on the news. But you and I both know that that would mean they need some clues. Because they really don't know how to improvise. They've got a teleprompter rolling before their eyes. And what do I think about the pandemic and all of the COVID shots that have been given, the vaccines that have rolled out? Well, what I think, Ann, is I'm confused because there are people who just got one shot and will not do the second. And I don't understand this kind of reasoning. It beckons my mind to open up in a way that it can't expand because that does not make sense to me. And
I think you need to start a plan. People are needy of the brilliance of Dee Dee.
And then we could only do this thing together, you and I.
That's
I
right.
think that we should give this thing a try. No
I'm
one.
all about that, and may the people watching, if anyone has connections, apply them, try them, so that we could bring diva healing to this crazy ass world.
I like the way you said that, crazy ass world.
And one last thing, if you have some blessings you'd like to share with our audience before we bid them farewell, what would you like them to experience, learn, or feel today?
This is a kumbaya moment. Let me see. A blessing, a blessing, a blessing fall of thee. I just would wish that everyone would live inside their truth, and everyone would show some kindness to people when they see them. I don't know what to say besides that, and I don't have
think
a plan.
that is everything we need. You have given us so much wisdom. You have told some difficult truths. Thank you for crossing the bridges of Bridgewater. And may everything that you're doing in the future be blessed from within and without. And to our beautiful audience, please go listen to her gorgeous records, watch her on films and TV, and make sure when she's live, she is worth the drive. Go see Dee Dee.
Ooh.
Yes, indeed. Dee Dee, thank you so much. What a
Yes.
joy.
I love this, Ann. I love this, and I think that you are a fabulous interviewer, and you need to do more of this. And seriously, I am down. You know, I'd be down for doing this. You know, I'd be down for us being wacky.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And yeah.
Thelma and Louise of
Yes,
the jazz
honey,
book.
of the jazz world. Yes,
That's
and
right.
I'll get all different kinds of hair.
Okay.
I can get hair. I'll get hair that looks like yours. Let me go get some hair that looks like yours.
Well, and I
And
might
then we
just
can
go
do it.
bald. I might go bald and wear bold glasses. So, you know.
Oh, well, no, because I can't do the glasses. I don't have.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know.
Okay.
So
All right.
let's leave that. But
we'll figure out. We'll get our stylist going at it.
you look wonderful.
You look wonderful.
Sound wonderful. It is always a joy to see you and to be in your company, Ann Hampton Callaway.
No.
Always.
You fill my heart with joy, Dee Dee. You are such a light in this world. And thank you so much for being here today. And I'm sure the audience has a lot to mull over what has just happened. I'm so glad we did what we just did. That was so much fun.
I am too. That was a lot of fun.
I know that it's like, oh my God, the Jazz Cruise in 2022. But for those of you who have never experienced this kind of rapport that we've had tonight together, this is what goes on the Jazz Cruise. And
yes,
if you haven't been on with us, January 17th to the 24th, we are leaving out of Miami. We're going to Aruba and Curacao. But the main thing is this thing that happens between artists and music lovers.
Yes.
So we thank all of you. And Dee Dee, I can't imagine a more joyful way to spend an hour and 15 minutes than to get to speak with you and hear your amazing stories.
I loved it. I loved it. And I love you. And give my love to Carrie. And I cannot wait to see you both. I can't wait. So for those listening, you know, we're going to be there. I'm going to be masked. I don't care what they say.
Oh, I'm going to be masked too.
And I might even be gloved. I don't know, because,
whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. But I will be there. I might be a little standoffish. Don't get in my face. Just don't get in our faces.
Yeah.
Keep a distance. I like this distance thing
From
now.
a distance. Yeah, yeah. Not
From a
emotional distance.
distant bell, we can speak to you. We don't need to be in each other's faces to say what we do. Keep your distance. No.
Yes. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, you know. But I'm kind of I don't know yet how I feel about the cruise.
Well, we can't know everything because every day is a new day. So
Isn't
I
it?
mean that
Isn't it?
I think the beauty of the pandemic is that everyone has had to become jazz musicians. You've had to live in the
Yes.
moment. You've had to not know what's happening next.
Yes.
And
And
you've welcome to our
improvise.
world.
You've had to improvise.
Improvise.
That's what
And
we
I
do.
love to look in your improvise.
Oh, I like that. I like that.
To
All
be
right, my
continued.
love. To
All
be
right.
continued. We
Thank
should
you
do
so
one
much.
on the we should do one on the ship.
Yeah, we should. Let's
Yes,
do it.
we will.
We will. All right.
Okay.
Thank you so much, everybody. Take good care. Stay safe. And
Yes,
until the next
everybody.
time, thank you again, Dee Dee
Thank
Bridgewater.
you.
Bravo.
Thank you, Ann Hampton Callaway. Yes. Beautiful.